Welcome and thank you for joining me again. This is the fifth one. Today has not been the best day for sewing. I'm just going to say. There's a couple of things about this project that, as you can see, I mean, it's just a complete mess, but I love it. I mean, it is in no way good. It is a horrible example of sewing, but I did this with 4 dogs in my house under very extreme circumstances since it's April the 3rd, 2020, and we are still going through the stay home, stay safe situation. So I'm happy with it. It is not perfect. It is by far probably one of the least perfect things that I've ever sewn, but I like it. I like the way it turned out. So I have 3 pockets. 1, 2, 3. I can use them for scissors. I can use them for scraps. I can use them for these clips. I mean, thread could go in here. Just, you know, a packet of pins. I just can. This is like the most amazing little thing I think I've ever made for my sewing room for myself, and I really like it. There's a couple of issues. One, let's see, I'm going to put those over there. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to save it. Love that. The instructions kind of fail to mention that you're obviously going to need 2 sets of ties, and apparently you cut these in half. I've looked, I don't see where it says to cut these in half. 1 half of this would go on this side, and 1 half of this would go on this side, so that when you put this on top of your sewing machine, you can tie it and you can tie it. I have these super long ties on one side and nothing on the other side. So I plan, because I don't ever want to get a magnet close to my computerized sewing machine, is to put just a simple buttonhole situation over here. I might take a scrap of this and make a button loop, and then use like a big, I have lots of very large buttons, and then I wouldn't have to cut and make a buttonhole in my actual project. That might be what I end up doing. I don't know. The chances, to be completely honest, the chances that I'm going to take this out from under my sewing machine and put it on top of my sewing machine and tie and button are very slim. I will not lie to you. That is a very, 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 very slim chance. So I'm not going to worry about that. The other thing I don't like is I've got these hanging out over here. So I may end up cutting them off. I don't know. I'm thinking, because I'm worried that they're going to get in the way of whatever it is that you know, whatever situation I have over here. I don't want like my fabric to get all tangled up with these. So I don't know, I might tie them, I don't know, tie them in a knot and then kind of do this. That might work. Yeah. But the cool thing about having this mat is it makes it easy for me to slide my sewing machine. I like it. I don't have to like pick it. This machine weighs a lot. I mean, there's a lot of metal that went into the inside of this sewing machine and a metal case. So it's a really heavy sewing machine, which I don't mind, but you know, sometimes when you're trying to shift things around, it can get a little difficult to do. So I really like it. That little bobble right there is where I was sewing when Bama started going rah, 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 really loud and scared me half out of my mind. So I bobbled. But you know, all these little imperfections, they just, I don't mind them at all. So the other thing is, I love the flanged edge. I like having that extra, you know, inch of pocket depth up here. I am going to have to go back and stitch that, probably by hand, or maybe I'll put a button there or something, because I didn't back stitch this one. I did this one and I didn't this, and as you can see, that's why you back stitch. This is nice and strong and held in place. This one's already coming undone because I did not back stitch right here. I just started straight stitching and my threads are coming undone. But, you know, I had 4 dogs in the house and things were all chaotic and crazy. So, but look how simple it is to move it around. So the other thing is the bias binding is probably your best bet. Because even though I love the flange, and if I make it again, I'm going to go ahead and do a flanged pocket again. I like the contrast fabric. I like the extra inch of pocket depth. I feel like it's a cute enough detail that it's worth doing. And of course, it's easier to me than a bias binding. But the flanged edge, although it is super cute around the edges, is horrible in the corners. They don't want to go around these corners very nice the way I did it. So, and I mean that's the case on all 4 corners. It's just a gobby mess. But I don't care. I would never give this to anyone. And the only reason I'm showing it at all in this video is because, well, I have a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to. 2, I don't care if I make mistakes, because if I make them, then you don't have to make them. Or if I make them and you're like, well, that's not a mistake. I often think that when somebody thinks that something is awful, I'm like, well, so what? Big whoop. So if that's a so what big whoop for you, then great. But if I make the mistake, then you don't have to make that mistake if it's viewed as a mistake. So that's the whole point of sewing and doing what I'm doing. This, and of course, my total, all the time desire to change my patterns that I purchase. Whenever I buy a pattern, it's like, what can I do to make this different? I know they wrote it to do it like this, but I want to do it differently. So anyway, and yeah, the other thing is, as I said earlier, way earlier in one of the earlier videos I did today, there's a scrap bag that is part of the you put a button here on this end, and the little scrap bag hangs on the corner of your sewing machine mat. Or I think if you wanted to, you could probably make it so it would sit wherever you want to put it. And that's kind of what's singing in my heart. I don't want it hanging on this. I want to just be able to pick it up and put it wherever I want it. But the pattern, although the outside of the pattern says scrap bag, the inside of the pattern calls it a scarp bag. So there's always going to be these weird little mistakey things that I find in these patterns that we can then discover together, and you're like, oh, that's why we didn't sew it right sides together, or maybe it would have been better if we had sewn that right sides together. So that's the whole point of me doing the videos. I still love this. I love the way the fabrics look together. They're very inspiring to me. I've been on this huge gardening kick, and this is all, it is just the cutest thing. And it gave me a great idea when I was ironing it. What a cute little apron idea. I mean, seriously, you could do the whole bottom of an apron in these cute pockets with this little flangey top, and then make your apron out of a different fabric, and then just have ties at the waist. And you could either wear it out, you know, for gardening, put gardening tools in here, or in the kitchen making bread, which is the other thing that I do all the time, or any other kind of thing, you know, doing laundry, you know, you could put clothespins in here, cleaning, you could put cleaning supplies in there, sponges and whatever. So I think I'm going to try to design a all-purpose apron off of this pattern right here. we'll see what happens. I mean, come on, what could be easier, right? This is so simple. But the next thing on the pattern would be the sewing scissors case, and then the scarp bag. I can't wait to get into that. It's a very strange looking pattern piece. And let's see, what else? I just have a million things. I want to make some placemats before Easter for my dining room table. And I'm going to have to look and see what kind of fabrics I have. I believe I have some bunny fabric that I think would be super cute. Absolutely super, super cute. And I think what I'm going to do, I'll just go ahead and show you. It's likely going to be the next thing because Easter is like phew, wrapping up here real quick. I would need 6. If it's just going to be the people like me, my husband, and my 2 kids, my daughter and my son-in-law, who live in this state, then I only need 4, obviously. But, oh, well, it's been a long day. Sorry about that. As you can see, this is just the most adorable, cute fabric out there. It's a very old print. I've had it forever, and I'm trying to remember. It's a VIP. Does VIP even exist anymore? Cranston Printworks. I bought it. I bought the whole bolt when I had my shop in Kansas. Because there was a Daisy Kingdom dress that was a I don't know if you even know what Daisy Kingdom dresses are, but they are dresses that you could cut. They were printed on a panel. You bought the panel, you cut the dresses out, and they made the most beautiful little girl dresses. I mean, just gorgeous. You had petticoats and big full skirts and little pinafores and giant sashes and huge poofy sleeves and just gobs and gobs of ruffles, okay? So the alternative was to use a children's corner pattern and this fabric and kind of make up your own. And I sold probably half the bolt, and then I brought this with me because we ended up moving here. But you can see I've been using it here and there, but I think I have plenty of fabric to make 4 placemats. Yeah, and the bunnies they face both directions. So and there's a little turtle and a bee and a butterfly and a basket of eggs, and just it's just adorable. Flowers everywhere. So you can have your placemat, and it doesn't matter what direction the placemat is facing, because these bunnies right here are facing this way, but these bunnies are facing this way. And this bunny is facing this way, but that bunny is facing the other way. So that's the whole point. That's why I love this fabric. Good project for that fabric. Alright guys, I can't tell you how much it means to me that you've hung out with me this long. I really appreciate all of you. And I hope that everyone is well. I try not to worry, but I do tend to have people just kind of upside down in a ditch all the time in my mind. So please take care of yourself. Thank you again so much for joining me. I will see you next time, where we're going to be probably making placemats. Have a good night. Thanks.